It always starts the same way. She looks at you, not as you are, but as who she hopes you might become. You feel it in her eyes, that flicker of something, hope or maybe hunger. You think you're being seen, but you're not. You're being scanned, measured, assessed, not as a man, but as a possibility, a role, a character in her private fairy tale. And the most dangerous part? You want to believe it. Carl Jung warned us, not in the soft tones of modern self-help, but with the precision of a man who stared directly into the human soul. He said that most people, especially in love, aren't connecting with each other at all. They're connecting with projections, illusions they've created inside their own minds. She isn't loving you. She's loving a version of you that never truly existed. And you mistake her admiration for understanding, her desire for recognition. You think you're special, different, chosen, but you're not. You're just the latest actor cast in a play she's been rehearsing since she was 12. Jung called this projection the animus, the unconscious masculine image inside every woman. When immature or unchecked, it becomes a tyrant. It seduces with illusion and dominates with fantasy. And most women, Jung said, don't even know they're doing it. But here's the real twist. You're not a victim of it. You're a participant, a volunteer. You perform. You adapt. You become the man you think she wants you to be, because somewhere deep down, you believe that being chosen is the same as being loved. That if she sees something in you, then maybe you can finally see it in yourself. But that kind of love isn't real. It's a performance. And every performance has an expiration date. One day, you'll forget your lines. You'll break character. You'll stop matching the image she created. And when that happens, she won't rewrite the story. She'll replace the actor. Jung knew this was inevitable. He said the only way to escape this cycle is through a brutal, lifelong process, individuation. The journey of becoming whole within yourself, without needing to be seen, saved, or completed by anyone else. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most men never begin this journey because it's not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's not a highlight reel. It's a reckoning. You have to confront everything you've buried, your fears, your shame, your weakness. And no one's gonna clap for you when you do it. You've been trained to seek validation, to define your worth by your usefulness to women. But as long as you let someone else define you, you'll keep performing. You'll keep being replaced. You don't become a man by being desired. You become a man by choosing yourself, by standing in your own shadow and saying, this is mine, all of it. And when you do that, truly do that, something strange happens. You stop being seduced by projections. You stop chasing approval. You stop being hypnotized by praise. And that's when women begin to notice something they can't quite explain. You're no longer eager, no longer malleable, no longer easy to manipulate. You become unsettling, not because you're cruel, but because you're grounded. You're no longer a character in someone else's fantasy. You're a reality too solid to be shaped. But that's not the end, because the moment you stop performing, people will turn on you. Some will call you cold. Others will say you've changed, that you're distant, arrogant, unfeeling. But it's not true. You've just stopped dancing to a song that was never yours. And women, especially those still under the spell of their animus, will feel threatened. Not because you've hurt them, but because they can't control you anymore. You've stepped off the stage. You've stopped reading from the script. You've become untouchable, not because you're hard, but because you're whole. And that's when you'll meet her. Not the fantasy, not the projection, but the real woman. She won't try to fix you. She won't ask you to be more sensitive or more available or more romantic. Because she's done the work too. She's met her own shadow. She's faced her animus. And she doesn't need a puppet. She's not looking to be completed. She's looking to be met. And when that moment comes, when two whole people stand face to face without illusion, without need, without masks, that is love. Not possession, not validation, not projection, but truth. Most people will never experience it, because most people never stop performing. But if you can stay the course, if you can keep walking through the loneliness, the rejection, the silence, you'll find yourself on the other side of something sacred. You. And from that place of rooted clarity, women won't be your saviors, or your judges. They'll be your mirrors, your equals, your allies. You won't chase. You won't beg. You won't bend. You'll choose. Freely. Fearlessly. Because you finally know who you are. And that, Jung said, is the only kind of man who can truly love and be loved in return. But knowing who you are, that's not the finish line. It's the beginning of a different kind of responsibility. Because once you see clearly, you can no longer pretend. You can't go back to the comfortable lies. You can't rejoin the game. The masks won't fit anymore. The small talk will taste like ash. The parties, the poses, the rituals of modern dating. They'll feel like watching children play with fire. Dangerous, loud, and hollow. You'll notice how desperate everyone is to be chosen. How frantically they perform, seduce, overextend. And you'll remember when you were one of them. How exhausting it was. How disconnected. You'll also see the pain in it. The ache behind the curated photos. The sadness inside the flirtation. Because beneath it all, everyone's looking for the same thing. To be seen, not as a fantasy, but as a person. To be accepted, not for the role they play, but for the reality they carry. But here's the paradox. You can only be truly seen once you've stopped needing to be. And that's the hardest part, letting go of the desire to be understood. Because most people won't understand you. Not anymore. They'll mistake your calm for coldness, your standards for arrogance, your silence for judgment. And when you don't respond the way they expect, when you don't give them the reaction that confirms their fantasy, they'll turn away. Some will punish you for it, but you won't chase them. Not out of pride, but out of peace. You've already walked through the fire of your own becoming. You've burned away the false layers. You've learned that solitude is not loneliness, it's sovereignty. And once you've tasted the strength of that silence, you won't trade it for shallow company. You'll start to speak less. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you no longer need to be heard. You'll move slower, choose deliberately, and not everyone will be invited into your world. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. There will be moments when it feels like you're walking alone. But the truth is you're not. You're walking ahead, and only a few are ready to meet you there. Somewhere in the distance, other men are waking up too. Not the loud ones, not the performers, but the quiet, steady ones. The ones who've faced their shadows, who've said no to comfort and yes to truth, who've stopped chasing women and started building lives. They don't compete. They don't peacock. They don't pretend. They create. They protect. They serve something bigger than themselves. You'll recognize them, not by their words, but by their presence. It's calm. It's unshakable. It's earned. And when you meet one, there will be no need to impress. Just a nod, a quiet understanding. You'll also start to see women differently. You'll no longer seek validation from them. You'll no longer fear their withdrawal or crave their approval. Instead, you'll respect them for the sacred mirrors they are. The feminine isn't something to conquer or decode. It's something to witness, to honor, but only when it's real. Only when it's rooted in wholeness, not fantasy. And if she hasn't done her work, if she's still projecting, still performing, you'll see it instantly. And you'll step away, gently, without shame, without blame, because you know her story. You lived it. But if she's walked through her own fire, faced her own demons, slayed her own illusions, then something rare can happen. Not chemistry, resonance. Two sovereign people, two awake souls, two mirrors reflecting truth. Not clinging, not needing, choosing. That's the love you were made for. Not the one that burns bright and fades, but the one that burns slow and endures. Because it's not built on fantasy. It's built on freedom. If you felt something in this, if some quiet part of you nodded along, not just with your head, but with your soul, then this space is for you. This channel isn't built on hype. It's not chasing trends. It's here for the ones walking the slow road, the road inward, the road back to something real. And if you're walking it too, subscribe. Not for the numbers, not for the algorithm, but because it helps keep this kind of voice alive. In a world that moves fast, we need places that move slow. In a world that shouts, we need spaces that whisper the truth. And in a time where everyone is trying to be seen, we need reminders of how to truly see. So if this resonated, support the mission, share it, Leave a comment, not just for me, but for the others who are still out there, feeling what you felt, searching for what you're beginning to find. We're not meant to do this alone. Quiet doesn't have to mean isolated. Stillness doesn't have to mean invisible. This is a quiet life, but it echoes. And if we echo together, maybe the world begins to listen. Thanks for being here.